Welcome back to Uncommon Analysis. If you're new to the channel, we're glad you decided to stop by. Please click on that subscribe button, like, share, tell your friends and family, leave a comment, join the conversation. We're happy to have you. And for our regular listeners, welcome back. Always glad to see a friendly face. So today I want to talk a little bit about this email from Elon Musk or Doge telling federal employees to send an email listing what they did, telling them what they did this week, right? Telling what they accomplished last week. Up to 5 bullet points. The request clearly said don't share any confidential information, don't secure anything that would violate security or anything like that. Just a quick little, what did you accomplish this week? What did you do this week? And the absolute chaos that it appears to have created. This is a headline just published today. Just published a few minutes, today, right? Or no, yeah, sorry, this is today. Today, from CNN saying that this has apparently caused bedlam. Because Elon sent this email or somebody from Doge, I don't know if it was Elon's personal account or not, but it went out from Doge to all federal employees saying, do this. Or you could be, and I believe it also said, if you don't do it, we'll consider that your resignation. Now, I don't know the legality of that portion of it. Like, if you don't do it, we'll consider you resigned. So I don't know what the legality of that one. But it's apparently created just absolute chaos on a bunch of people who are supposed to be, for the most part, professional bureaucrats, right? These are people that work in offices, push the paper, do the things that need to get done to keep the government operating. And it's created absolute chaos. Because Elon said do it. Some of these other directors have said it's optional. Elon said obviously in the email it's required, and if you don't do it, you could get fired or you'll be considered you quit. Other people directing different people in other positions of executive authority over individuals in the federal government have said it's optional. And Elon is going outside and publicly and said it's required as well, even after other people say so. So there seems to be some confusion, right? Yet intellectually and critically thinking, this is a no-brainer decision. Okay, so if you're a federal employee and you're not sure what to do, I'm going to take the burden off you of you doing this. I don't think this is a complex decision. I think anybody that's engaged in working in the government at a level this email would have applied should be able to figure this out. But let me explain it to you in real simple terms. You have two options. You have one boss saying do this or there'll be consequences. You have another boss saying it's optional. You don't need to do it. Which boss is right? You don't know, right? I understand your confusion. You don't know. So you don't know and you've got to make a decision because the deadline's coming up. Well, this happens all the time in corporate America, folks. I'm not a big fan of this send me your weekly status updates management style, but anybody who's been through reorgs or, buyouts or change of leadership or any of that, you've been through this kind of silliness where somebody gets a bug up their butt, we're going to do something a different way, and it's different the way things were done, and people fight it, and yada yada. But let's just lay this out here. Let's lay this out here. This is the logical question before you. You have two people that have influence over your career above you. One's your direct boss, right? Maybe the head of your department. The other one is some other guy who might be a consultant that the CEO brought in. Think of it that way in this sequence. And the consultant, the CEO, sends out an email saying, this is required, we expect you to do it, and if you don't do it, there will be consequences. But your immediate boss says it's optional. Now, it has to be done by a certain time. That time is now come or about to happen. And you can't get clarity because you ask your direct boss, he says optional. The other guy's still saying it's required. Okay, well, what are the consequences? It's one, you do it, you don't do it, and your immediate boss turns out to be correct in the long run. So it was optional, and no damage happens to you if you don't do it that way. Okay? Sure, that's one path. The other path, though, is the consultant the CEO brought in is absolutely correct. And if you don't do it, there will be consequences. So, your boss says optional, CEO guy says it's required, and there could be consequences if you don't do it. What's your decision? And you don't know who's right, but you have to make a decision now. What do? Simple, you just do it. There's no negative impact of doing it when it's optional, right? Your boss hasn't told you he's going to fire you if you do it, or he's going to have repercussions. He's just telling you it's optional. So if the other guy's saying you get fired for it, your decision is just do it. Get it over with. If you can't get clarity before the time's up, just do it. Right? That way, if it turns out it is indeed required, you got your butt covered. You've covered your butt. And if your boss turns out to right, you haven't done any harm. Okay, you filled out a paperwork that you didn't need to. Big up. You're out to 5 minutes. I guarantee these people spent way more than 5 minutes talking about this, debating it, and trying to figure out what to do. At least the people that seem to be in bedlam about it. It's a simple logical solution. I'm telling you right now, if you're not sure what to do, if you're not sure you should do it, just do it. That way your butt's covered. If Elon's threats if Elon's what he's saying turns out to be correct, you're covered. If Elon turns out to be wrong, you haven't harmed anything. You're out to 5 minutes of your time. And in the world of corporate bureaucracy and just bureaucracy, if all bureaucracy costs you is 5 minutes of your time to deal with on a weekly basis, count yourself lucky. count yourself beyond lucky. All right. So there, I've given you the answer. Now, to me, this shows just how ridiculous the federal bureaucracy has to be. Because this isn't a budget problem. If you have large numbers of people who can't make that sort of typical simple decision, right, knowing the consequences of both sides or the potential outcomes of both sides, and can't make a call, need guidance to make a call on what to do, you got way, way, way bigger problems than just budgeting. Way bigger problems than just budgeting. All right? So, now don't get me wrong. I understand why people may not like it and may not be happy. I mean, here's an article where even most people are on Doge are saying, fuck you, I'm not going to do it, I quit. Right? Basically saying we aren't going to do it. And I can certainly understand people not wanting to do it and being offended they're being asked to do it. I'm not a big fan of this particular task when I work for companies that require it or managers that require it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And who knows? This could just be another way they're trying to get people shut the door, right? I'm going to ask you to do something. You're going to quit out of anger because you don't want to do it. And we've reduced the workforce by that much of a headcount just because you left, right? Because you were upset. You didn't want to do it. So you just said, screw it, I'm not going to do it. And you quit. Fuck you, I quit. Take this job and shove it, I quit, right? They're not going to care, and they've just reduced workforce. I've seen that played out a lot of times too, where they'll just try to keep making people do more and more silly stuff until they get fed up and leave. And then they don't have to worry about paying severance or unemployment or any of that stuff because you quit. So that's really all I got today. I'm just blown away that this is somehow this big, huge brouhaha that people who work professionally as bureaucrats in the government agencies seem incapable of simplistic critical thought. It's a cost-benefits analysis, folks. If boss A is right and I don't do it, nothing happens. If boss A is wrong and I don't do it, I could lose my job. If my boss B is right and I don't do it, I lose my job. If boss B is right and I do it, I'm fine. Which path do you choose? Just do it. Just do it. That way you're covered. If it turns out boss B was wrong, doesn't matter. It didn't hurt you any. And if it turns out boss B is right, you're okay. However, if it turns out boss A was wrong and you didn't do it, you can face consequences for your actions. So, again, simple logic, guys. I don't know why you need excessive guidance. I don't know why this is a bedlam, as CNN wants to call it. It seems pretty straightforward to me. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Hope you have a great one, and I am out.